Hi everyone, it's Nikki and welcome back to Live a Little, your cozy corner of the internet where we explore all of the in-between parts of life, but we do it all judgment-free around here, and it's especially when you don't feel like you have someone to talk to about them. So today I have my first guest and I'm so excited. I have Emily Carey.
Hi!
I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Honestly, I feel like I don't even know when we first met now.
Oh, years ago,
I was trying to think of this, like when I was doing like your questions and stuff. And I remember talking to you about the fact that years ago you were in a show called Get Even.
Yes.
Yeah, which was a BBC. Was
Crazy.
it BBC Three?
It was BBC, yeah.
BBC Three show. And it was like when I was in the midst of doing a lot with the BBC.
Yeah.
And it was before I knew you. And I got invited, loved the show. And then I remember like vividly you in it. And then obviously a couple of years later, we just would see each other around. Yeah. And I was like, I saw you in Get Even. I feel like I've known you for ages.
Funny.
I know. But I can't
crazy.
remember when we first properly spoke. I remember our friend Belle did a birthday party and then we kind of had a real good chat there. But no, I've always been such a fan of you and everything you do, and I just think you're the loveliest. So it felt like the perfect person. You encapsulate everything that Live a Little is, which is just being honest, being genuine, being, truthful and unfiltered. And yeah, I think a lot of, our jobs, obviously you being an actress and me doing social media and presenting, can be a lot of what it seems on the surface. And I think the whole point of why I wanted to do Live a Little was to kind of explore, of course, parts of our jobs and your job, but also what you're like as a person outside of your job, So firstly, how are you feeling today? We're doing a little check-in. So if you were rating how your week's been on a scale of, today's Friday at the moment when we're filming this. So how's your week been on a scale of 1 to 10?
My week's been like a solid 7, I'd say.
Okay, that's good.
I'm feeling okay today. I'll be honest, the day has just started.
This is true.
The day is just getting going. But no, I think I'm feeling good. And it's so nice to check in. I feel like I very rarely do that.
Oh, good. I'm in the process of having therapy. I feel like I'm trying to take little pieces of what my therapist give me and actually apply them.
Yeah.
I feel like I spent so long, I've been in and out of therapy my whole life, and I feel like I've spent so much of therapy being like, yeah, that's a good, yeah, that's true. And just never actually applying it.
Yeah.
Or oh, you're right. Never actually applying it.
Always.
Or telling friends the advice, but never actually taking it on.
I do that all the time. I give advice, but I don't ever take my own advice.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. I'm such a people pleaser, and I'm trying to unlearn it. And it's even stuff like that where I'm like, you would tell your friend not to do this or not to feel this way. Why are you not believing that for yourself?
It's so easily done though.
Yeah.
I feel like it's human nature.
It is. Yeah. I feel like since turning 21 last year, I'm trying to just really be the most myself I can be. Do you feel like there was a defining age that you turned where you were like, well, you're only 22, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like a year above me in school years.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you turned a certain age, or I feel like I had a massive jump between 18 and 21.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. I feel like as a teenager, there were aspects of me and of my life that were far more accelerated than my peers.
Yeah, of course.
But then I think in sort of relationships, friendships, social life, that was when I was far behind all of my peers.
Yeah.
So I feel like all of my milestone ages have all been a bit skewed.
Totally,
do you know what I mean? But I was much more scared about turning 20 than I was any other age. I think it was just this thing of I was just being in your 20s is scary.
You're out of teens.
Yeah, you're not a teenager. You can't get away with as much. You'll be like, it's fine because I'm still learning. I'm a teenager. It's you're suddenly in your 20s and even though I'd been sort of living on my own and paying rent and being a grown up for a good few years before I was 20, it was something about the age of turning 20 that freaked me out.
Yeah.
So I think I had to confront a lot of anxiety at that age. So I'd say maybe 20 was a turning point.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. I feel like you know, for so much of our childhood up to like 18, our kind of course we have other worries and other needs and things to do, but our sole sort of purpose is to make sure we do our schoolwork and like you know, certain things where it's like you just focus on that. And then I think we surpassed that age, and suddenly it's like, I mean, you surpassed that very early because it was suddenly I need to worry about income and rent and acting and all of these things that kind of, like you said, short-circuited those kind of steps. I feel like I sort of had that in a different way, maybe in terms of like emotional maturity. I feel like which is kind of like why I live a little sort of two-pronged, is it's my idea that like we've lived a lot of life in very different aspects with, you know, your acting and, you know, doing kind of life steps much earlier, like getting your own place and things like that. But then in terms of socializing and feeling like you find your group and like-minded people and those kinds of mundane things that people see as just like normal aren't for us. And so it's like we've lived a lot of life in a different way to other people that's maybe not the norm of childhood, whatever that is, but then not much in terms of what's seen as like the mundane things that everyone does.
You're so right.
How did you find like growing up? What were you like at 13? You know, how did you find school? How did you find, you know, just growing up as a teenager?
I left school at 14.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people assume it was because of my acting, and I guess partly it was, but it was mainly for my mental health.
Yeah, of course.
School for me was not a good place. I never really found my people. I never really fit in, and I was such a geek at 13, and I say that in like a really good way. I'm not being, you know, I'm not being mean to my 13-year-old self when I say that they were a big geek. I cared so much about my academics. I think I probably put way too much pressure on myself. I felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders at 13 and was trying to be sort of worldly and grown up, but you never are at 13. So I feel very protective of my 13-year-old self. I think like when I envision myself at 13, I'm like, oh.
I feel the same. Yeah, honestly. So what is something like now you are, you know, 5 or so years or longer than that ahead of that? Me trying to do maths. That, you know, that's Cynthia Erivo.
Stop that meme.
It's giving that.
Very
trying to do maths. I need to go back to school. Proof. What would you tell, like if you could relive that season of your life, what would you tell your 13-year-old self now?
Such a good question. I would say to just trust more, whether that be myself or others, whether it was my therapist at 13 or my mum or people I was working with saying like everything's going to be okay. You will find people, you will find friends. School is not, you know, the be all and end all. Everything's going to be okay. I think trusting in that more, and just trusting myself and trusting that you don't have to have everything figured out, whether you're 13 or 22. Literally. You're never going to know it all. Not you know all. Like, I think trying to let that go is important.
So true. When do you feel like you kind of found your, not even necessarily your tribe, but when do you feel like you kind of began to find people in your life that felt a bit more like, you're my person, you get me, you know?
I think with this industry, the creative industry, and whatever aspect that is, we're very lucky in that you get to meet a lot of people and you get to meet a lot of like-minded people. And sure enough, you also meet some not nice people, but I think you get that in every profession, in every industry. But truly through my work is how I've met my bestest, closest friends. Actually, on Get Even was where I found like a lot of my best mates who I still have now. But
that's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's this weird thing of like when you're on a job, you're in a bubble and you're with the people you're with and that's it, you know? And it's we always described it as like understanding how the islanders feel on Love Island, because it's like you've known each other 3 days. How are you best friends already? How are you in love with this person? That doesn't make any sense. And then you actually live it and you're like, oh my God, I get these people get me.
No, I always think about that, because that's where I think our jobs differ, is that you're not exposed to new people in the same way that you are for your job, where you're kind of isolated, like Love Island, and it's kind of like we're in this together, we're all driving towards the same destination, and it's 12 plus hours you're spending with these people day in, day out for weeks, months. It's crazy. I mean, did you ever find that, obviously because you started acting so young, did you ever find that difficult when you first started working with, you know, other actors and actresses and trying to build those connections, especially when, you know, you're a teenager and you're struggling to kind of, I mean, I think I would struggle with like the social element and like socializing and the kind of like, oh my gosh, I have to make conversation with these people for this amount of time. What if we don't get along? What if, you know? Yeah. I
definitely found that tricky. I think I still find that tricky. Going on to a new job is scary because it's so many new people all at once, and it is the thing of knowing that you're going to be spending every day with these people for X amount of time. But I think as a child, most of my colleagues were adults, you know, like it was very rare that you'd do something where it was other children. I guess in children's theatre, you're around other kids. But as soon as I started working in TV and film, like you're always playing the daughter of someone or the younger version of someone. And so you're around adults. And I think because I struggled so much at school and didn't really know how to talk to people my own age, which I think is partly because of my job and growing up around, you know, in a grown-up industry, but also then finding out that I'm autistic, I was like, that makes so much more sense. So there's this sort of like social barrier. And so if you'd have asked me at 12 who my best mates were, I would have named like my adult colleagues that I was working with.
I was the exact same. Like, the exact same. It was even, I had one friend in primary school. I was kind of in and out of primary school a lot with my health. But I remember when her mum would come to pick her up from my house, I would have a better conversation with her mum. Like, it was just like there was a different level of like depth and understanding. It's just like, it's like, I don't want to talk to you about your favorite color or your favorite, like, it's not, you know, I can't do that. It's like, I need to speak to you about adult things and have an adult conversation with you, because it is that your mental growth does kind of short circuit.
For sure. I very much relate to that.
It's interesting, but I think you realize that when your bubble becomes a bit bigger and the worldview becomes a bit bigger, because your teen years do feel like the be all and end all, and you're like, there is no life outside of this is it forever. So catastrophizing, so scary.
Of course.
That when you do start to meet people that can meet you where you are, or at least be a bit more on your wavelength and your age, that they don't have to. A lot of my friends are also still older, but it's really nice to know that you weren't the only person that felt that way, I think. The older you get. So with acting, how did you get into it? Like, was it something where you were always wanting to pursue it, or was there a film you watched or a show you watched or a performance where you saw it and you thought, I want to do this? Or was it kind of an accident?
I think it was kind of an accident. I fell into it, but my whole family is in the industry somehow. None of them are actors and none of them work in the TV and film industry, but all theatre. So my granny was a wardrobe mistress in the West End. My mum was a singer on cruise ships. Like, everyone in my family is in it. My grandpa's a drummer and he's still a gigging drummer now. He's like the coolest.
So cool.
And so when my granny retired from the West End, she used to do our local theatre, whether it was touring productions or like Amdram productions. And so I'd be like 2-3 years old and would sit backstage pairing socks with her. And I think I always just assumed that I would end up on a stage. Like, I'd sit there and be like, oh, when am I old enough to do that? Not like, can I? It was always, I started doing pantomime when I was like 6 and was too young to be doing panto, but they let me audition for fun because I just wanted to and ended up doing it. And that was my first taste of, I guess, being on a stage, apart from like Amdram stuff when I was a kid. And then it's funny you say about like a performance that sparked something in me. When I was 7, I went to see Wicked on the West End.
No way.
And I didn't grow up in London. Coming to London was like a day trip on the train. Like, you'd pack a lunch. It was a big deal to come to London. Yeah. And so we came to see Wicked, and I remember coming out of that and being like, I have to play Alphabet. Like, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to sing. I want to be on a stage. I want to perform. And literally the year after that, the Matilda the musical soundtrack released. And I remember listening to it on repeat in the car, and saying to my mum, like, those are real little girls that are singing and they're on a stage. How do I do that? Like, I want to do that. I want to be on the CD. I want to go and be on a stage in London, and basically just pestered my mum until she took me to an open audition, thinking it was sort of shut me up a bit in a nice way. She's very supportive, but in a way of like, look, there are lots and lots of people that want to do this. You know, it's a
reality check.
Yeah, a bit of that. Matilda wasn't hosting open auditions, but Shrek the musical
Stop it.
was. And listen, it's not like leading lady, it's playing a little ogre, but
I love Shrek though.
Shrek is amazing.
I got it.
And I ended up booking it, and then bless, my mum was roped into taking me to London 4 times a week to go and do shows for like 7 months. But it was, I think, the best first job for a kid ever. I was painted green every night. Not quite Elphaba, but
do you know what?
I'll take it. It was the best. And then from then I got an agent, and then once I started, I just didn't want to stop. And that's how I got into it.
I love that so much. That's I would have never known that Shrek was your starting.
Yeah, it all starts with Shrek.
Oh my god, I love that. I remember when was it the theatre in Covent Garden?
Yeah,
oh my
Drury
gosh,
Lane.
I remember it so vividly.
That's so funny.
I remember like seeing the Shrek on the outside. I never went to see it. I've seen Wicked and Matilda, both incredible
shows.
Like I love like going to a West End show. It feels like an event, honestly.
Yeah, truly.
But I always wanted to go and see Shrek, so that's so fun. I'm such a letterbox geek. I'm obsessed with films. On my letterbox every day, as soon as I finish something, I'm on there reviewing it. So I want to know, like, what were some of the films that made you? So what is your comfort film now where you've had a long day, you're trying to kind of decompress after a long day on set or just a stressful day? What is, firstly, the film that you kind of go to as your comfort? And then secondly, what is a film that sort of you saw it and you were kind of like, I'm forever changed by this performance, or like, this is just, you know, what's in your top 4?
Okay. So obviously as an actor, I get asked this question a lot.
Oh my god, sorry.
No. It's a
Not
great
to add
question.
to the stress.
No, it's a really good question, but I just never know.
Yeah.
And my answer changes all the time. I think it depends on what mood I'm in. But comfort films, I have no shame in saying I'm a Disney adult.
Of course.
Sue me.
So am I.
I love Disney movies.
I watched Camp Rock last week.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Such a good film.
So good.
So I think for a film that like feels like a hug, a comfort movie, it's got to be a Disney movie. And when I'm feeling super stressed and anxious, I watch Inside Out, because then I just pretend that my feelings are little people in my head, and that makes me feel way better. Yeah. And then recently I've been loving the movie Soul.
Oh my god, don't.
I love that film.
It's incredible.
And I think it's such a good January film. When you're feeling down, you're like, what is the point in anything in life? What is my purpose? Soul is such a good film. And then I also love like Studio Ghibli movies, My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah.
I think is
so
like
cozy.
So cozy. Yeah. Proper comfort film. And then, okay, movies that shaped me, my formative films.
What movies made you?
I think the number one for me is But I'm a Cheerleader.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
No, it's on my watch list.
Okay,
oh my God.
Well, you've got to get it off your watch list and watch it.
That's my homework.
That's your homework for this week.
I'm literally going to message you and watch it.
Please.
I promise.
It is so good. I mean, there are parts of it that are obviously, you know, it was made quite a while ago, but RuPaul playing straight is one of the best things
RuPaul's
ever.
in it.
RuPaul is in it with a t-shirt that says straight is great.
Stop it.
It is hilarious.
Oh my God, I can't even compute that.
I love Natasha Lyonne. Like I love the whole cast are amazing. And it was one of her like early films. She looks so young in it. But it's, I think the film is beautiful. The use of colour is fascinating throughout. And it's a very well-made film, but also watching that as like a baby gay. I remember watching it on YouTube, like finding it on YouTube when I was in like the depths of watching pirated RuPaul's Drag Race on YouTube.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, found this film. And I remember watching it and being like, this is, it's like a flick of the switch in my brain where I was like, yeah. I mean, incredible film. So you have to watch that.
Okay, it's on my list. I promise I'm going to watch it.
What other films? Again, I have them all on my letterbox, but I never remember them.
Recommend a lot? Would you say it's But I'm a Cheerleader?
Yeah. Because I feel like not enough people have watched it.
Guilty.
Also, I love the film. I saw The TV Glow.
Not seen that either.
You need to watch that. Oh my gosh, incredible. Okay. Jack Haven is one of my favorite actors ever. I saw them at an event like end of last year, and I was too scared to go and say hi, but like obsessed. I think they're really, really cool. But yeah, love that film.
Okay.
And made by trans filmmakers.
Love that so
and
much.
Creatives. And it's like horror, but again, the use of colour is so interesting in it. Yeah, really great film.
Oh my gosh. I'm such like there's so many films on my watch list that like I really feel like this weekend I'm quite free. So I'm going to watch But I'm a Cheerleader. Yeah. I promise.
Good.
And I need to just start getting through it. My habit is that like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to start anything new today.
Yeah.
I do that all the time, whether it be a series or a film, I'm like yesterday I was watching Angus Long's Perfect Snogging.
That's also a formative film.
Oh my God.
That film, yeah.
I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to rent it on YouTube. But I was like, you know what? It's worth the $3.49. I'll do it.
Oh yeah. That film I would pay a lot of money to watch that film.
It's so...
love that movie.
Oh my gosh. I remember the first time watching it. It was on Film 4, where they, show all the films. And I had it recorded, and this was probably when I was like 9 or 10. And literally every single day I'd replay the film. Like, there's just something about it. It was the perfect mix of quintessential like Britishness, and then how it's all about, not being the stereotype, and then it's, it's just so good. The music in it's so good.
So good.
It's just like, it's rom-com, but not in a cringe way. It's just, to me, if I had to show someone like a film that's kind of like a British film, like to watch, it'd kind of be that. Yeah. I love it.
So good.
It's so good. I could talk about films forever. Okay. So with acting, obviously a lot of it is so trial and error. It is so many auditions and self-tapes and lots of, yeses, of course, because you've been doing jobs and acting for so long, but also no's. And I, as someone who is so grew up so, desperate to be chosen and be liked and all of these things. And as we all do as kids, we just want to feel validated and seen and heard and feel good enough, essentially. With you doing, acting for so long and going to auditions from so early, how did you find that process of, I guess, not rejection, but, hearing no's?
Really hard. I think it would be a lie if I sat here and said it was fine, because no, it's
I wouldn't find it fine. Yeah.
It's really, really hard. It's hard as an adult, but it's especially hard as a child. Yeah, you have to gain that comprehension of what a rejection is in that context so early, and understand that it's not a reflection of your talent. And I was taught very early that it's not the best actor, it's the right actor that gets the role.
Oh, that's
so you could be the best actor in the room, but if you don't fit that jigsaw puzzle of people and of the rest of the cast or whatever, if you just don't fit, then it's not your role,
It's not meant to be.
I thought that was so interesting. But no, it definitely had an impact on my mental health. And whenever anyone is talking about their child or their niece or nephew or cousin or whoever getting into acting as a kid, I'm always a bit like, it changes everything. It changes your perception of yourself. And I think a lot of who I am now is because I was working at an early age, for the good and also for bad too. And my mum's actually now a kids agent.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and when I say that, people are always like, "Did she represent you?" And I was like, "No,
mamager." Yeah,
all the way around. She became a kids agent because she saw how hard it is for children in the industry through me and through my work, and we were always just like a great little team. And so now she can offer advice and has somewhat, not control on the industry, but she's making a lot of waves, and I'm super proud of her.
That's amazing.
And yeah, but it's a weird one. Children working in any context is strange. I feel like child acting, child modeling is one of the only forms of children working that is socially acceptable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It's so interesting. But no, rejection is still something that I struggle with. And even though I get 3 or 4 no's a month, you just have to I counted actually. I went through at New Year's, I went through all of my self-tapes from last year, and then was actually, I wonder how many on my phone I have. So I scrolled back and I had not necessarily individual auditions, but individual self-tape videos. There were maybe 2 or 3 scenes for each tape, but I had like over 1,000
oh my goodness
videos of like self-tapes on my phone since 2019. So like, I mean, divide that by 3, again, maths, not sure, but
not
like
computing,
a lot. And I booked maybe 3 or 4 of those jobs. Like it's crazy when you put it into context, especially as I'm seen as like somewhat successful actor because I'm working.
Yeah.
But like 2024, I didn't work at all. I had no jobs, but because I had stuff releasing, you can sort of like hide behind it. But yeah, it's crazy. You face rejection day in and day out.
Yeah, definitely. And from such an early age in such a like black and white way that it's like, it's either yes or no, and you will not be told why. And I think that can be so hard because it's your brain is then filling in the blanks in really not great ways, obviously.
For sure. It completely knocks your self-esteem. And children's theatre used to be brutal. Like, I remember the Shrek auditions and all kinds of theatre auditions, and they don't do this anymore, thank goodness. It's been like a decade since I was doing children's theatre, but you used to stand in a line and they had recall letters.
Oh my God,
so letters that you'd have to go out and hand to your parent, but recall letters, and they'd go down the line and be like, you get a letter, and then they'd skip 2 or 3 people, you don't get letters, you get a letter. It was wild.
That makes my insides like cringe. Like the thought of that is
But
insane.
to us it was so normal, you know?
Yeah. No,
it's
I
just
can only
bizarre.
imagine. So yeah, we're talking about obviously the inconsistency of working as an actor. What is that like? You know, we were just talking about how you can be working on something for like 5 weeks really intensely, and then and being around people all the time, and then suddenly it's quite literally one extreme to another. Like it's really like the pendulum swings both ways very extremely. I mean, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you, I guess, one, ground yourself and come down from that, but also sort of, I guess kind of get back to normalcy a little bit in those in-betweens?
It's really hard. I mean, it's a strange thing spending every day for, up to like months with the same people, and not just cast, but crew as well. Like you're seeing the same faces all day, every day. And especially when you're not at home, like when you're working away from home and you're all in a hotel together, you're then spending your evenings together and your weekends together. You're like around these people constantly. To then literally suddenly have it cut it's a crazy feeling, and it can be really disorienting, especially when you've been working away and then you come home and you're confronted with like being on your own again. I think for me, my friends are so important to me, and I see them as frequently as I can, and if not, I'm so bad on my phone. I say that.
Me too.
Like, there's no such thing as being bad on your phone. Like, realistically, we should all be on our phones less. But saying that, let's reword. I'm terrible at reaching out to people.
Yeah, fair.
Especially when I'm away and I'm distracted and I'm working, I like hyper focus.
It's compartmentalizing. I'm honestly the same.
But I'm trying to work on it, and I think keeping in contact with people who are grounding to me is vital for my mental health, so that I don't just like away with the fairies, distract, and then come back and be confronted with everything at once. Of course. It's tricky though. It's really hard.
I can imagine. And then it's kind of, these people kind of become your family for the time you're there. Is that ever difficult when, because I think you have, as an outside, you have this view that it's kind of like you will be friends with these people forever, and you probably feel that way as well while you're in it. What is that like when it's, of course, you've made some of your best friends from the shows you've been on, and I'm sure you're still close to some of them, but is that ever strange when you're like, we're gonna speak forever, we're gonna be friends forever, and then it's just like, it was a job?
It's strange. There are some actors that definitely work like that, where they'll be very friendly with you on the job, and then as soon as the job finishes, you realize like, okay, we were colleagues, that's okay. You know, I respect it. It's hard being thrown into this bubble of people and then being pulled out. So people are protecting themselves in that sense, fair, you know, which I completely get. But it's an odd one. I don't think any other industry or any other job has that sort of weird whiplashy thing of being surrounded by people and then not. I've been very lucky that I've worked with some really, really lovely people, but it is, it's strange.
I can only imagine. I wanted to talk about, because obviously you've done so many incredible shows. You've done Get Even, geek girl. I read the book when I was younger. Obsessed.
That's crazy.
Like it was in my school bag in secondary school for literally like 2 years. Obsessed with it. Even when I'd finished reading it, it was sat in my bag. And then obviously you did House of Dragon. I remember going to the premiere of House of Dragon before we'd even really met and spoken. And it was such a production. Yeah. Like it was crazy. Literally shut down London for the day.
Yeah, it was wild.
What was that like? Because I'd say that was kind of your biggest role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was that like being in the limelight so kind of extremely all of a sudden and kind of thrust into this because obviously before that was Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones was, I mean, huge.
Yeah.
So this was, you know, came after what had been an incredibly successful show with already a fan base there and eyes on it. I mean, and you were like a really big part of it. And so, I mean, yeah, just what was that like? I mean, I struggle so much also with red carpets and all of that. Just like I black out honestly when I do stuff like that. So yeah, I guess it's two-prong of like, how did you find the day of the premiere, but equally just being in such a kind of big TV show at the time?
Crazy, intense, wild. I mean, I was 18 through most of the experience.
That's
like,
actually mental.
I was 17 when I booked it, and throughout rehearsals, and I turned 18 just as we started shooting.
Oh my gosh.
And then it was sort of 18, 19 as we were doing press and it was coming out. I think about that press tour often and how petrified I was the whole time. I was, it was a lot. When we were in LA, we had 2 days of press junkets and then the premiere over there, which was like the first big premiere. And the first day of press I wasn't in. I couldn't do it. I had this panic attack at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and bless my amazing publicist was like, it's gonna be okay. But at that point I rang my mum and I was like, I think I'm coming home. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it. And so there's a few interviews that Millie Alcock did with other people because I wasn't there. And I felt really supported by the team that were there and the rest of the cast and everyone. I managed to stay. Thank God I didn't panic and run away because I was so close to getting on a flight home. And then did the second day of press and did the premiere. And then we went to all these different places before. London was like, obviously it's the home of the show. And it's funny, they did shut down the whole of Leicester Square.
Honestly, it was like an event. Like I didn't know where to look. There was something happening everywhere. And also just
insane.
The screaming, it's
so loud.
It's not a natural environment. And also, of course, you being neurodivergent, that has even bigger kind of effects on you and your body and your mind and everything. Yeah. So yeah, how did you, I mean, it's incredible that you stayed because you could have so easily just like been like, I can't do this. Yeah. And so that's incredible.
Thank you.
I can't compute what it's like because I've only ever been to, say, a premiere as someone attending to watch the thing, but to be in the thing and be like on the main kind of photo call and in the main cast, like people shouting at you, look here, look there, go do this interview, that interview, like my body shuts down thinking about it, honestly.
Mine too. Yeah. It's petrifying. I mean, the London premiere, I was the last cast member to show up. Okay. I arrived like 10 minutes before we had to go in, which was planned so that I wasn't in the crazy environment for too long. Yeah, I think that is the biggest like event that I've ever been to, and certainly the biggest thing that I've ever been involved in. I remember walking through Leicester Square whilst they were like setting it all up. It was, it feels like a dream, I think. But it's so overwhelming, so scary. Oh, actually, I think the biggest one was Comic-Con in San Diego. That was one of the craziest experiences of my entire life. Like, I've never been in front of that many people before. And actually said to the team beforehand that I didn't want to speak on the panel, and they were like, fair. Fine, you're cool, you can just sit there. And Olivia and Emma and Millie were all really great about like if there's any questions you can sort of turn to us, and so that was really nice. And I did end up speaking, but the second we got off the stage, again had a panic attack in the toilets at Comic-Con, which was insane. And I think it was the clip from Comic-Con that then went viral on Twitter, and I was so horrendously like harassed on the internet. I have to laugh about it because it is funny.
What clip?
I basically said that my character wasn't the villain, and then was accused online of not reading the book, not reading the source material. I had no idea what I was doing, which was so hurtful because I'd spent like over a year of my life on this show and giving so much of myself to it, and I cared so much. This is the thing, like that press tour, I was so conscious of how I was coming across. I wanted to give the best impression. I wanted to show that I was passionate about the show and that I cared so much, and put so much pressure on myself, hence all the panic attacks. But yeah, I mean, Twitter was not happy with me for that, and I think it's crazy.
Fuck Twitter.
Truly, fuck Twitter.
What the hell?
Not on it anymore.
Neither am I. App's gone.
Like, it's, I think so toxic. But I played a 14-year-old girl. I don't think any 14-year-old girl is the villain in a story like that, you know? I mean, yeah, crazy. And then after the show came out, I got told I was... This is quite funny. I got told by hundreds of thousands of people that I was forcing my queerness onto the character.
What the fuck?
Which is wild, because we insinuated that there may be an undertone of gayness, and everyone went insane. And I think the queer cast members definitely got more of an attack online than...
What is wrong with people?
Yeah, it's crazy. The fans of that show are insane.
That's the thing.
And I mean that partly in a good way.
Yeah.
Like,
ride or die, but
ride or die. And I obviously owe my career to that show and to the fans of that show. But yeah,
that's
sometimes
not okay.
It's like, it's a made up show about dragons. It's not that deep.
It's literally not that deep. Like, exactly that. And especially when you've put your heart and soul into something, and then these strangers that are like cowards behind the screen are just think they know everything and think they know more than you when they don't. You've been there putting in so much work on that set for a year, like doing your absolute best, and also at such a young age to honestly feel like you have the weight of the world already on your shoulders, just being an 18-year-old and working, but then the weight of all of these people that have this predisposition of what you should be or shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's like it's unimaginable.
It's a lot. I mean, yeah. It was a crazy experience. I'm so glad that I'm so glad I'm not on Twitter anymore. I mean, the thing is, as an actor, I open myself up to criticism. Anyone in the public eye, whether it's acting, influencing,
it's constant.
Musician, like you are aware that that's you know you're going to be judged. Point blank, period. And I'm okay with people judging my performance. I don't care if you think I'm a bad actor. You're completely entitled to your opinion. And in fact, if I'm in a show long enough that you get an opinion on my performance, then great.
You've done a good tick. You've done a good job.
But it's like when people come for your character, like,
that's not okay.
Again, appearance, looks, performance, don't really care. But like character, that's what gets me. When people were saying like that I didn't know what I was doing, or that I didn't care about what I was doing, that's, I think, the thing that 18-year-old me was most like upset by.
Because also there's nothing that you can... It's like you want to be like to everyone. No, you don't understand. Like, I'm literally having like breakdowns over this and wanting to do as well as I can. And it's like you can never say enough. Like, that's where you realize there's just no point even trying to explain yourself.
Truly.
Because like you will never be able to say enough, or like you can you can shout it as much as you can around. It just will never be enough to these people. 100%. So it's like, what is the point of wasting your breath and your energy?
Yeah, so true. I put out I was 18 and on the internet, like I put out a string of tweets afterwards trying to like explain.
Did you?
Of course. Like naturally I was like, I need to fix this. I need to like remedy this. And then went through a phase of like, oh, okay, I'm going to be like so chill and like not care. And someone had sent me on Instagram, had like sent a link to like a hate tweet.
Why?
And been like, have you seen this? It's going viral or whatever. And I liked the tweet and it didn't mention my name, but it was very clearly about me. But someone had sent it to me. This was the other thing, because I liked that tweet. Everyone then thought I was like vanity searching myself on Twitter. I don't know why anyone would do that. That's horrid. Yeah. And then that was like a whole other kerfuffle that I'd liked this hate tweet. So it's like a thing of like, you can never do anything right.
That's
if you
exactly it.
Interact with it in a way of like, I don't care, then you're wrong. And then if you try and like defend yourself in any way, shape or form, that's also then wrong.
Yeah. You literally can't win.
Truly.
I think, that's where having your network in real life is so important. Like the people that know you and see you and know how much work you've put in, and you don't need to explain yourself. Like that, you know, just tell you that you're doing okay and you're enough, and try your best to, you know, decompress as much as you can and love you for who you are. I think having those things outside of the work that you do is so important. Do you feel like you have found any, like, I don't know if it's like other types of creative outlets or like ways to decompress, even if it's not like after shooting, but after even like situations like that? Like, I mean, of course, I'm sure it's still like traumatic to talk about that time. Like, it's kind of trauma, like what you went through at such a young age, with all of that. But yeah, was there anything that leading up to the kind of the months after everything happened with that helped you, I not even ground yourself, but just focus on something else?
Yeah. Lego.
Love that so much.
That's my go-to answer.
Oh my God. I love Lego.
As House of Dragon was airing, I bought my first Lego set.
What was it?
The Friends apartment set. Because Friends is like my comfort show.
Same.
I mean, it's like just background noise at this point, but...
Yeah, literally, you're like, I could literally say it word for word.
Yeah. 100%. I don't watch it because it's good. I watch it because it's comfort. Exactly. I bought my first Lego set, and it was this weird thing where I just suddenly became obsessed. Maybe it's the autism in me, but
that's so cool.
It keeps my hands busy. It keeps my brain busy because you're following instructions. I also love cooking, but
I love cooking.
I don't love to cook in like, I like to chef it up and be experimental and whatever. I like to follow a recipe.
Me too. That's why I like baking.
Yeah, of course.
I don't. Me in my like junior Bake Off era, when I was on it and I won Junior Bake Off. Yeah. But that's what I loved about baking, is it's regimented and like you can kind of expect what you're going to get at the end.
Yeah. That's exactly why I love Lego. And now
there's a level of control, I guess, with being like, I follow these steps when everything feels so out of control.
Exactly that. You have to like lock in and focus on it.
Try and seek it where you can, I guess, as well. Like when that's it, opinions and what's going on in your life feels like a trajectory that you can't control. That's what even I've learned, is just trying to find those little pockets or things you can actively do where it's like, this is mine. There's no pressure here. I can just enjoy this and follow it.
Exactly that. I mean, I now have a huge collection of Lego.
Where do you keep them?
It's proudly on display in our flat.
I love that so much.
I have a Lego shelf.
Oh my gosh. Museum of Lego.
A museum of Lego, truly. And I'm very proud of my collection. And after a long day, I will sit under my weighted blanket and I will
weighted blanket,
click some
so
Lego
good.
together.
Oh my
gosh.
Love
my weighted blanket.
I have a heated weighted blanket and it's like literally the light of my life.
That sounds dreamy.
Oh my God. It's like I put it on before I get into bed and it's the best thing I've ever got. Yeah, I was obsessed with Lego Friends when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I would like dust them off because they'd start getting dusty as I'd like made them. And I had nowhere to put them. So I just like shoved them on my bookshelf. And now I'm obsessed with the like bouquets of flowers.
Yeah,
Lego.
love the flowers.
That's what I've been doing a lot. But I need to, like, my friend got me the cherry blossom one for Christmas. I haven't built it yet.
It's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, have you done it?
I have done that one.
I love that so much.
Beautiful. Yeah, and it's funny you say about dust. But my best present that I got last year for my birthday, one of my best mates, Zach, who is a geek girl, who also loves Lego. Yeah. He got me a tiny little mini vacuum cleaner.
Oh my God, that's so thoughtful.
Truly, it came with the post and I was like, who is this from? He's a very mysterious man. There was no like note or anything.
Guess who?
Literally. And it's my favorite thing ever, my little mini vacuum.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is my mum would be like, what are we doing with this now? Like, we need to kind of figure out where you're putting this because it would literally just be in different parts of our house. So and my mum would say, like, we have family coming around, you need to move your Lego. And I'd say, like, I have nowhere to put it.
They're display pieces.
They are. Come on now. Like, come on. No, that's so true. And because you have to use your hands, you have to actively focus on it. I'm currently, my new thing I'm getting back into is dot to dot.
Love.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unlocked something in my like child. I think that's it as well, is like I'm trying to implement more things that are kind of from childhood in life now that are quite healing and expect nothing of you. Because I think in a lot of our job, whether it's with interacting with other people or, you know, acting or, you know, our managers, our agents, whatever it is, like there is an expectation from you, even if it's not like inherently like I expect this from you. There is, you know, something that you kind of have to give. And so I think it's so nice to have these things that kind of unlock this like comfort and safety in you from like your younger years. And,
100%. I love that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to connect with again, I guess. I wanted to talk to you about Geek Girl because obviously Harriet is an icon. I'm obsessed with her.
Me too.
Yeah, it's such a good show. It's such a comfort show, and I just absolutely love how it's kind of about how you can find your tribe in places that you never expected, and you know, worlds where they have kind of stereotypes and connotations can be for the people that it's not deemed as, and how that can be where you thrive. And I just think it's beautiful also how you explore autism in it. And of course, you must have connected to that on a such deeper level because of the fact that, you know, you've had to grow up and come to terms with being autistic and everything like that. I guess I'd love to know what that journey was like with getting told that you were actually autistic, and how you felt before that. And then also what it meant to you to do a role where it's got such a personal, because you know you've done something which is literally like dragons, and like as much as you can be like, wow, this is cool, this is something that has that deeper meaning because it's, you know, been a part of your life also.
I definitely struggled with my mental health for the majority of my life. I've always been quite an anxious person, but not just mental health, mental illness. Like I was diagnosed quite young and was told I had all these different kinds of anxiety disorders and OCD and this, that and the other, and had this long list of things that felt like labels that were just sort of stuck on me.
I completely relate to
that. And had been in and out of therapy for a number of years. And when I was 17, I was going from children's psychiatrist to an adult psychiatrist. And it was on this Zoom with this new psychiatrist, and you know how you have to sort of like go through everything
I hate it so much.
And she just said, just so casually, have you ever wondered if you're autistic? And I went,
oh,
what?
Welcome to adult care.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I don't know. I've had these diagnoses for a really long time. Like, I don't know. It feels like a very big thing to miss.
And also like apply to yourself out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely thought about it. I have a second cousin who's autistic and very open about it, and was throughout my childhood. And I always thought he was like super, super cool. And would wear like these tweed suits, or like would dress as a pirate. I
love that so much.
He's so cool. When I was quite young, I want to say like 9 or 10, my mum remembers me asking like, am I like my cousin?
Oh wow.
I won't name him, but I was like, am I like this person? My mum thought about it, and because I was somewhat thriving at school, and you know, it's just me and my mum, she didn't have anyone to sort of, you know, refer back to, so she made the decision to sort of not explore that avenue. And I think I'd be a very different person now if I had been diagnosed sooner. I think, you know, the two things coexist. There's a lot of trauma in growing up undiagnosed, but I also think it would have been a complete block to my work. Like I don't think I would have been working at the early age that I was. So it's a strange one. But yeah, so I got diagnosed at 17, actually a month before I started shooting House of the Dragon, which was crazy.
Just to add that on top.
Yeah, truly. And yeah, it's a big word. And as much as I could sit there and be like, you know, I have family members who are autistic, I have friends who are autistic and neurodiverse, and you know, I know what it is and I understand it. There's always that stereotype. And like, I'm not ashamed to admit, like as an autistic person, when I first got my diagnosis, I didn't want it. Like I was like, this is too much. That can't be me. I know, like it didn't suddenly all fall into place for me. It was a very gradual thing. And again, I distracted with work. I was on Dragon for like a year, and then we did all the press and everything. And then I booked Geek Girl, and that audition process and how I got that was also quite long. And I remember seeing the open call come out.
Oh my god.
And they wanted like a natural redhead, at least 5'6", which I am not, or maybe it was 5'8". It was like tall to play a model, obviously. And someone who was actually autistic. And I was like, okay, I tick one of those boxes, but okay, I'm not a redhead and I'm not tall, so I guess I have to let this one pass me by. But I was such a huge fan of the book, so I messaged my agent a screenshot of the open call, and I said, if there's any roles going in this, they'd already put out a really specific brief for Nat, the best friend, which I did not fit. And so I was hoping I'd get seen for like Lexi, the mean girl. I was like, okay, anything in this show, I just want to get in the room for it. And waited and bided my time, and then eventually got the self-tape through and was so excited. And I think I had 3 or 4 more rounds after that. It was quite a long process. And when I booked it, I was suddenly like overwhelmed at the prospect of having to actually talk about my autism.
Yeah.
And having to accept parts of myself that I think I'd been sort of pushing in a corner of my brain that I didn't want to touch, because for me there was a huge amount of shame that came with it. I think especially in this industry, which is such a niche topic of conversation, autistic actors, but like I think within this industry, it makes me think of like when all that stuff was popping off on Twitter with Sia and her take on autistic actors and that whole thing, which I won't get into because I have way too many opinions.
Yes.
We don't have enough time. I was so scared that the industry wouldn't want to hire me anymore because I'm autistic. And I think a lot of neurodiverse creatives probably share the same or shared at some point the same insecurity and the same fear. And I think playing Harriet, I've said it before, it felt so like healing to my inner child. Harriet is obviously, she's 16 in the first season and then has aged up a little bit for season 2. And I sort of envision Harriet as my 13, 14-year-old self as I was leaving school and feeling so... There was so much of her that I related to, not just the autism, but also the context of her life in which she struggled to fit in at school, but then would go away and work as a model. That's how I was as a kid.
But with acting.
Exactly that. So it felt like a parallel of my life in a way. And it was strange having to learn to unmask in the place where I've been masking the most, which was at work. Like it was bizarre, and it took a lot of therapy and a lot of self-work to like figure out what that meant, and to figure out, you know, because obviously autism is different in every person.
It's such a spectrum.
Literally. So there's no like one thing that it looks like. And so also figuring out how I could apply my own traits to the character, and then also which traits that I don't have that made sense for Harriet. So it was a really interesting thing to do. And then obviously as the show came out, I was talking about my autism a lot more. It was like the first time that I'd sort of said it out loud to people that weren't in my close circle, which was so scary. But I will say the fans of the show, the people that watch it, the kids that watch it, especially the autistic people really that watch it, have made me feel so safe and so secure in it.
Such a difference to, you know, past stuff. Yeah.
Truly. So that show, I think, changed my life. Obviously not in the way that House of the Dragon did, and like career and like...
That's like surface level changing your life.
Yeah. Whereas I think Geek Girl, although it's like just a cute little cheesy show,
no, it's beautiful.
It's like,
it really is.
I think as not just an actor, but like as Emma person, it changed how I view myself.
Oh, that's amazing. I think, with any kind of like label, there can be so much sort of self-rejection and like self-hatred so much deeper than anyone around you applying that to you. And so I think you do have to do so much work to finally accept the kind of things that have been put on you. And it's so special because I think with Geek Girl, as it is a children's or, you know, young adult show, you can't, you know, make it fear-mongering. You can't make it, you know, in your face sort of like, this is about autism, this is about this. And so I think the way you guys approach it is so beautiful, because Harriet happens to be autistic, but ultimately it doesn't define what she's able to do. And I think that's such a beautiful lesson to especially neurodivergent or anyone that literally feels like an outsider. That's why I resonated with the book so much. There's very little or not very many shows that have that message for young people. It's the usual tropes of like high school and, you know, the outsider, the popular, it's that. And of course there's an element of that in life in general, but I think it's really beautiful how, you know, you being the main character in it leads that path of like showing that, yes, I have these differences that I have to deal with, but they make me who I am. And if you can embrace them, you can then do so much in life and actually use them, like harness them into like a superpower. And I think that's so beautiful in the show and the message it gives, but also then I can only imagine how that was kind of healing for you to almost be able to it's very rare that you get to kind of retreat into your younger self and actually sort of relive parts. And of course you didn't do that, but I guess it's kind of reliving parts of your life that other people don't ever get to do, because you're kind of acting younger, and then because you resonate with so much, it's like, wow, I feel like I'm kind of being able to comfort myself in a way by being able to revisit her in such like a formative way. So that's so beautiful. And then on just the kind of last thing about identity, similarly to autism, you've talked about being queer and your whole journey with that. And I guess also would love to know how that journey has kind of shaped you, but also what that coming to terms with was like, and your relationships with people since that.
I've always been very queer, and I was very lucky in that I never had to come out.
Amazing.
My mum's
so stupid anyway,
it's
like
so
coming
true.
out.
I also secretly think queer is the default. Just saying. But no, I was very lucky in that it, as I said, just me and my mum, and she was supportive. And
Amazing.
I think growing up in the theatre circles, I was around queer people all the time.
They're the best.
And so never really had to like come out. I remember coming out to some of my best friends who still tease me about it. With the song Bye Bye Bye.
Oh my God. Wait, how did you do this?
By on Snapchat lip syncing the song and being like, bye, bye,
oh
bye.
My God, I get it now.
Yeah, and being like, I have something to tell you, everyone. Just tragic. And not the best way to come out, but hey,
that's a memory though. That's like a core really event.
Hard. Yeah. And all of my friends are queer, and I think queer people are the coolest.
I agree.
I like to surround myself with like-minded people, and the queer community is so important to me. Yeah. And as someone who's always felt different or weird in whatever capacity and whatever context, I feel like the queer community is where I've like found my people and found the most security and comfort in that, like, anyone can be anyone. You know, everyone is accepted,
differences are celebrated
100%. Like, I love being queer. I think it's the best. I think it's also really fucking hard a lot of the time, especially in the industry that we work in. And as I spoke about before, like, I still get a huge amount of like homophobic hate online, which is wild because I'm very privileged and very lucky that I live in a place where I don't experience that face to face very often at all. Like, I live in London, and London is this melting pot of all different kinds of people, and I've never been, you know, hate crimed on the tube or whatever. You get the occasional odd comment.
But same with me. And
like,
ableism.
It's very rare that it's like, I've never been attacked on the street for being gay. And and as someone who outwardly presents as very queer, that's a privilege in itself. There are places where I couldn't even walk down the street, you know? So I feel very lucky in that sense. However, the internet is its own place, and I get suddenly like jolted into reality and reminded that these people do exist. Like, I posted about Pride last year, and I had to, I didn't switch the comments off because I was determined to not let them win. But
as you should.
I mean, if you go onto my Instagram account, any post that I've posted about being queer, it's just hundreds and thousands of comments. It's insane. But also simultaneously saying that, I think online is where the queer community thrives. I know so many people who aren't out in their everyday life, but then can go onto the internet in whatever space they want to go to and find a place where they can be themselves. And I think that's so special. And that's a place where social media can be a good thing. It can be a positive.
So true. I think that's what I talk about a lot with, you know, social media kind of being my job, is that, like anything in the world, it's not all rainbow and sunshine, but it's also not all doom and gloom. And I think what I've learned is that even in terms of when I'm consuming content, like, there's so much we can't control. Like, I will never be able to control my comments, same with you, and will never also understand these like low life people who have nothing better to do and then comment shit that they would never say to you in person. It's sad, honestly, but equally, I think I've learned that though it is my job and it is something that we kind of have to do in our career, you know, it's you showing the work you're doing, it's you kind of having to be active to an extent on it. if you can kind of at least control what you're consuming. I mean, TikTok's a different ball game, but like, yeah, the feed page is not for you. But like a feed on Instagram, if you can kind of control what's coming in, like, and let that be positive to an extent, I think if you can try and foster and create a space online, at least of the stuff you're consuming that's more positive, I think that's what I've found helps a little bit, at least for me. But no, this has been such a good chat.
It's been so fun.
It's been so fun. I feel like I've learned so much, and I feel like we are so similar in so many ways, which is why literally from the get-go, even before we'd started properly speaking, I just knew this. I know they're going to be very similar to me, and I like them.
Besties.
So, no, honestly, besties. So we always finish Live Little episodes with a little thought of the week. So it's kind of something for the listener or the viewer to kind of put on them, like a little exercise to think about for the week. So my one, I'm going to put it over to you.
Okay.
So I'll give you a question and then you say what you think for it, for the listener or watcher. What is something that you have implemented in your life? It could be boundaries, it could be an activity, it could be literally anything, a routine that has made each day feel a little bit less daunting when you're struggling.
I'm going to say journaling.
Love that.
I'm going to say journaling. I'm trying to be more consistent with it this year. It was my New Year's resolution, and obviously I went out and bought like loads of new stationery, thinking that it was going to change my life. And you know
me what? Every school year.
Truly, I've been better with it this year. I think it's something that it's the same with all those things: journaling, going for a walk, you know.
But truly, they
fueling
do make
your body,
a difference.
like all these things that you sort of go like, yeah, and then you do the things, and you're like, shit, I actually feel way better. Journaling is something that for me felt a bit easier and a bit more manageable than trying to get out the house every day or whatever. I feel like
so true.
There's little expectation on it, because even if I'm just writing down like one line of gratitude or one word of gratitude or like one highlight of my day, like the other day I think I literally just wrote down like really good cup of tea. I just sat down and had a really good cup of tea and that was my highlight of the day. Or it's a way to expel all of these negative feelings and feel like I'm getting an outlet somewhere and venting. I feel like journaling can be whatever you want it to be.
I actually love that, because when I've always wanted to journal, but the idea of it overwhelms me. Because I'm like, I can't do diary entries every day. Like I can't do that. So the fact that you're saying it could be a line a day is such a good way to see it, and makes it so much more manageable and realistic.
I mean, it's also something you can so easily pick up and put down. Like there doesn't need to be the pressure of journaling every single day, but I am finding that it's how I want to start my mornings now, which is nice. It's sort of coming into a routine. I'm also a very like tangible to-do list kind of person. Like I write a to-do list every single day. I can't have it on my phone. I can't, like I need to write stuff down.
In my notebook.
With my, like I have a diary, like a calendar
that
I carry around
with me. Oh my gosh, same.
Because I can't do it in my phone.
It doesn't go in my head.
I have to write it down. And so having like everything in one place is super helpful for my brain. But even like if you just had a calendar on your fridge or something like that, where the days are numbered and the days are numbered, the days are like blocked out. Do you know what I mean? Where you can see your whole month. Even that is like a space to just write a word to describe your day. It doesn't even need to be. Do you know what I mean?
I love that so much. That's such a good way to see it.
And it's so nice to then look back on and keep track of. And as someone who, like, I struggle with my mental health and I have a lot of ups and downs, let's say, and often I'm told in therapy that I should be like tracking my mood and stuff.
Me too.
But again, forget. This is a way to like get into the routine of I'm obsessed with those people on Pinterest who like color in or do like a little doodle a day or like color something in so that you can like visually see your mood. Like I love that. That's something I haven't quite committed to.
That's a really good idea. I'm such a visual person, so stuff like that is so good. Like it's so true though. I think sometimes these small things that you implement can feel so much bigger than they have to be. And when life and mentally you're not in a great place, the last thing you're thinking is like, I should journal or I should get out. And you know, there's times where I've been so depressed, I don't shower for days, like, because that's not a priority, you know. Your priority is just getting through the day. And so to have these things that make it feel like not a chore and something that is manageable, when everything feels like a chore or feels overwhelming and too much, I think that's kind of the lesson, I guess. And also you can implement routine in a way that doesn't have to feel overwhelming. And I think having routine, especially in our jobs that don't have routine, like at all, it's not like a 9 to 5, we're going in an office and we leave. It's not that. And I struggle with that mentally a lot. I think it's so important to have these things that feel reliable and like common, and like, you know, that you've got that and you can like pull up on that if you're not in a good place. So I love that. So I guess the thought of the week would be, what is something in your life that you could like try and implement or pull upon, like that doesn't have to be overwhelming or take up loads of time or feel like it's an added thing to your plate and actually can be helpful. I've started trying to do this thing. I only do it obviously when I feel mentally able to, but I'm quite in a self-preservation way, I've become a bit of like a pessimist just in general, because I'm like, if I always think the worst, I'm prepared for it, basically. I think it's also just having depression and all of the stuff that comes with it, you know.
Of course.
You know it. But I've tried to start implementing, it sounds very cringe, but like little win, little like loss of the week. And so it's like, I guess like the whole rose and thorn thing. It's nice. A way to say, okay, I didn't have a great week, but I got to see a friend, or I didn't have a great week because of this, and acknowledging that thing to be shit, but also saying like, that doesn't mean that everything became shit, because I think it's very easy to, and understandable, your brain short circuits to, as like a self-preservation way, this thing happened that was shit, everything's ruined. Like everything is shit, everything is bad, that's it. And so I'm trying my best to be like, no, it's not always cup empty. Like it can be like, okay, acknowledge this wasn't great, but like there's also still this and this. Even if it's the most stupid small thing, like I journaled today, or I don't know, whatever else it is. Cup of tea, literally just the tiniest pleasures. Like I saw the sunrise, like it could be literally the stupidest things. Even just being proud of yourself for getting out of bed at times, you know, that could be your rose or your little win. But I think it's like the wins in your week, I think in our world can feel like they have to be so drastic, that it's so important to focus on the little wins and the little things that actually you've like been able to push through to like get to and stuff. So.
There's also such, I think, in this industry, a toxic positivity mindset.
100%.
And I very much struggle with that.
Me too.
Especially in the House of the Dragon era, when I was struggling with so many different things. But it was like, but this job is huge and I have to be really grateful. And something my therapist said to me then, that I then say to everyone when I'm giving advice, because it can work in every context, but two things can coexist.
Yes.
Which is exactly
I struggle with
the
that.
win and the loss. It's like, you can have a really shit week, but also be appreciative of the job that you're on. Like, remembering that the two things can coexist. And it's so important to acknowledge when things are bad.
Defo.
And to give yourself grace.
Let yourself
and
sit
patience.
in it.
Which is something that I very much struggle with, because again, I've been such a pessimist for a lot of my life and so anxious, and you have people around you being like, but think of the good things.
Oh my god, and you're literally like, I want to punch you.
And so I'll sit and like be like, okay, rocking back and forth, like, okay, I need to think about what's good. Whereas allowing yourself to feel what you need to feel in that moment, and then moving on to gratitude is so important.
I've had a lot of bad therapists in my life. I've been through like 10 therapists in and out of therapy since I was 6, for lots of different things. But what my therapist at the moment has, I'm currently having like EMDR therapy, which is intense. So you're having to literally address your trauma. So it's like, the whole day I'm like not even in my body after it. But one thing that because I was saying to my therapist that sometimes I don't feel in my body, like I kind of just lock myself out of all emotions in a self-preservation way. Because everything that I've ever been through, whether it is like in life and events or feelings, have always been extremes. And so it's like, I just don't want to feel anything versus that. And she was saying that, well, what do you think's underneath? And I was like, probably extreme depression or sadness, and I just don't want to get there because I've been there, and it's like I don't want to get to that point. And she said, but the problem with that is then if you're constantly kind of numbing yourself out or trying to like detach from your body and your feelings, it doesn't have a positive impact on you at all, because it's kind of like Inside Out, where if you picture like emotions like a show, I've said this so many times on this podcast now, people are gonna be like, yeah, Nikki, we've heard this. But if I keep saying it to everyone now, if like you see emotions as like performances in a show, if you don't let each one have their moment in the spotlight on stage, things are only going to get worse, and they'll start like kicking off for not having their minute to speak and be acknowledged and be heard and seen.
Such a great way to put
it. So it's like, though you that time with, you know, you always want happy or joy to be on stage, obviously, because that's the one that's comfortable, that's the one that's enjoyable. If you don't allow fear or sadness or anger to have their moment on stage, then one, you can't appreciate when you're in joy if you have it, but equally you're then never able to like acknowledge your emotions and say like, hi, I know you're here, but I know you're not, you know, going to like hurt me, or you're not going to, you know, ruin my life. Like, I think I'm so used to the extremes that sometimes it's hard to be like, okay, these aren't always bad things. I'm just used to them being associated with bad things. So I feel like that's like therapy is such a journey, and so it's that's something that I think we can both relate to, is that not all therapy is good, and maybe to an extent I've been a bit over therapized, and I have to rein myself in from therapizing people.
Exactly that. I'm the exact same. Or over therapizing yourself and like analyzing your feelings rather than just feeling them.
That's it.
It's so tricky. It's so hard.
I don't need to know why I am the way I am. I know that. It's like, how can I get mechanisms to cope with the way I am?
Exactly.
That's my problem. And it's no linear way, but I think I always advocate for like therapy, but equally understand that no two therapists is the same, no two therapists is good or fits you, and what may work at one point in your life in therapy. Like when I was younger, I just wanted to talk to someone. Now I'm like, oh no, I want to like have something, whether that be like something concrete like EMDR, or some mechanisms that feel like they're tangible and like they're mine, and like you can put them in your pocket. But I you talking about therapy I really resonated with that. But thank you so much. I feel like that's such a good way to end. It's been such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my god, of course. Please come back.
I would love to.
We want you back, 100%. This has been amazing. We always finish a Live a Little episode by saying, and always remember to be kind to yourself and live a little. So do you mind looking down the camera and just saying that to people that might be watching?
And always remember to be kind to yourself and live a little.
I love it. That was so good.
Thank you so much.